Hi everyone, it's Anja here and I'm back with another video for Ophelia Talks, and today we are making coffee cup cozies. Now in this day and age where we have a lot more takeaway coffees, we like to use our reusable cups. I've had these for quite a few years now and we've always sort of taken them with us and got our coffees in there. But last year I got some iced coffees and that made my hand ache because it was so cold. But also, of course, when you get a hot coffee, you sort of have to be careful when you're holding it. So it's always good to have some protection. So I thought this year I would actually make the protection out of crochet. So I've used cotton and I have made two sleeves. They are different, as you can see, because of course the cups are different. So this one is a bit taller, this one is a bit wider, so I have made sure that my cozy fits the cup. So let me show you how I did it. So what do you need for this project? Well, for this project I used cotton soft king coal. The red one is the cherry one and the blue one is the cloud. And it's a DK cotton, so I used my 3.5 to go with that. Normally it's prescribed as a 4. Then you've got your scissors and your darning needle, of course. And I also had my cups ready, so I could measure and make sure that my cozy was the right size. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to make a slip knot. So make it whichever way you normally make it, insert your hook. And now we are going to chain. Now it's important here that the chain goes just about round the place on your mug where you want it to sit. So about there. So for this mug here, I did 36 chains and now I'm going to do 40 chains because this one is just slightly wider. So 1, 2, 3. So that's 40 chains. And when I hold it around my cup, there's maybe a gap of 1 chain, so that's perfect. So now we are going to turn this chain into a circle. So with the V's on the outside, you're going to hold your chain in such a way that it's not twisted, and you're going to go to the first stitch here, insert, and you are going to do a slip stitch. There you go. So now you have a circle. And now you're going to do a chain 1 and then back into that same stitch to do a single crochet. In fact, you are then going to do a single crochet in each chain along your circle. I tend to pick up 2 strands of my chain to just leave the 1 strand behind. So you're going to do 40 single crochets. I will see you towards the end of the round. Now it's going to be towards the end of the row here that you will know whether you have twisted your chain in the first place. So hopefully it will look like this and there's no twist in it, otherwise you might have to redo it because it's not that easy to hide. So I'm going to continue doing my single crochets here. And there we go. And now I am going to go over and skip this chain here, go to that first single crochet that we did and do a slip stitch. There we go. Okay, so now you should have 40 V's on top of your work. We are now going to do 2 chains. And this chain is going to count as the last double crochet of our dainty cluster that comes out of this stitch there. But of course we won't put the first double crochet in until we get there from the other side. So we're just going to disregard this chain for now, and we are going to concentrate on this side of our work. So we see a V here and one here, so we're going to skip this stitch here and we're going to work in the second one. And like I said, we are going to use dainty clusters, and dainty clusters are clusters of 2 double crochets. So I put 2 double crochets in there. So you skip a stitch, into the next one you do 2 double crochets. Go, skip, and in the next one 2 double crochets. And this is how you are going to continue your round. And I'm nearly at the end of my round, and I've just done my cluster here, skipping one here, and then here is the location for my next cluster, and indeed this chain is coming out of there, which is of course the second double crochet. So I'm just going to put the first double crochet in, then I skip the chain, go under the next V, which is the V of this double crochet, and I do a slip stitch, and that really has turned that chain into a double crochet, completing the dainty cluster. So now we are going to chain 2, and then you go in between the clusters and you do a double crochet. So here we have our first cluster already made of our next row. And you continue putting dainty clusters in between the clusters of the row below. There we go. Okay, now before I go any further, I am going to try this on, because obviously you do not want, to make it too big. There we go. So I have 20 clusters, and for this cup that just works perfectly. So 40 chains, 40 single crochets and 20 clusters. I am now going to see how many rows I am doing, but here I only had 36 chains, 36 single crochets, and then 18 clusters, and I did 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 rows. So it all depends, of course, on the height of your cup. This is not as high as this one, so I will be back to show you how many rows I have done on this one, and then of course also to show you how to do the last row of single crochets. Because we started with a row of single crochets, I also like to end with one as well. So let's continue with the body of our coffee cup cozy. I have now come to the end of my second round of dainty clusters. So I'm just doing my last cluster here. Then you see the chain 2 that you did to start with, skip that, go under the V, and you do your slip stitch. This then brings you to the start of the next round, so chain 2 and a double crochet. Then again, dainty clusters in between the dainty clusters of the row below. And keep your yarn quite tight here, because you don't want to sort of do it too loosely so your coffee cup cozy gets a little bit too big. Now I'm going to continue doing rounds like this until I think this one is high enough for my cup. Okay, so I have done 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 rows, and I think this is high enough onto my coffee mug for me to hold it nicely. So I am just going to do my slip stitch here, and now I'm going to do a chain, and I'm going to do my row of single crochets. So I'm going to look onto my V's, and I'm going to go into this V here and do a single crochet. Then this V really is in between the 2 clusters, so I'm just going to go in between. There we go. Here on top, here in between. And this is how I am going to work my way around the edge of my cozy, but also I am going to make sure it's nice and tight, not too tight, but not too loose either. So you have sort of a nice, edge here that will keep it all together. And really, you don't need to increase or make your cozy wider, because the crochet will allow for some stretch around that coffee cup. And it's such an easy make. You can make more than one even in an evening. And yeah, not only, I would say, for hot drinks, but also last year I remembered I got some iced coffees, and oh my goodness, that was painful to hold as well because it was so icy and cold. So I am looking forward to using this one for my iced coffees that I go and get during the summer. So here we are at the end of the row. So I just need to do one more here, then one more in between. Yeah. And then I go under the V of the first one and do a slip stitch. So there it is. That is my coffee mug cozy. So I will have to sew in the ends here, but before I do that, I am just going to try it onto my cup here. And as you can see, it fits quite nicely. It's wide enough for me to hold it sensibly like this, and it will be good for the heat of my coffee, but also, like I said, when I get my iced coffee, this will be a great help as well, because that was very cold on my hands last year. So here we have the two cozies I have made, one for a taller and a little bit more slender cup. There we go. And here the other one for my Cath Kidston cup here. There we go. I'm really liking these, and I hope you do too. Do make sure you subscribe to the channel and go to the Facebook group, become a member there as well, and post your coffee cup cozies there. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.